Hello friends. Let me hope we are all doing well and everything is fine. Today we are going to be looking on how to create a YouTube banner. This banner here is what I want to change. The other day we were trying on how to change a YouTube banner using AI websites or creating it professionally. Then I created two videos showing different perspectives we may use, or dealing with different websites like Canva. Then there was another one that we just got randomly, but both of them we didn't complete them because what I discovered is they needed some videos. I needed to first watch maybe some videos out there, whether paid, whether not paid, because it all needed me to get into detail. I wanted to design something on a professional basis, yet I wasn't using any of those softwares, so I couldn't see some of the stuff that I needed to use or to play around with to see that I come up with designs. So which is this playlist, that is creating a website. Okay, creating a website. Let me see if it displays here. I've clicked on it. It isn't creating a website. It is sorry, it is creating the YouTube banner using AI websites, or creating it as a professional graphics designer. So I started with part 1 up to part 2. Okay, now with this I'm going to be continuing a little bit. I'm going to be continuing with part 3, where we are going to be looking at using templates and creating it originally. So let us try with creating it originally. Okay, as a professional graphics designer, I will be showing you the different steps that I happen to take before I start designing and what should be within my mind as I design. Then besides that, I would also, as you see here on my screen, I was using different softwares, okay, to come up with something. Okay, so besides that all, the next thing maybe that we would look at would be, let me switch off this. The next thing would be looking at how we would create it in different programs. Okay, so we would use Illustrator, we would use Photoshop, any of that. We could also go for Corel, because Corel also can work on pictures, and can also work on coming up with a final design, okay, as a professional designer. So if at all we go for Illustrator or Photoshop, first of all, what we need to understand: one, we are designing for screen. Then besides knowing that we are designing for screen, the other thing we should understand is we are designing, whether we are either, if at all we are designing in Illustrator, it is vector; whether we are designing in Photoshop, it is a raster. Okay, so Photoshop deals more with pictures, Illustrator deals more with the shapes. Okay, so if at all we are going to be including both shapes and twisting around with images, then it basically means we would go for Photoshop. If at all we are going to be basically dealing with the shapes, then we would go for Illustrator. No. So now what we would do first is we launch maybe our Photoshop, and the other thing is, before we do any sort of designing, we would first go and note the dimensions. Okay, so because you cannot design anything without dimensions. Okay, so dimensions is like size of something you're designing, because with the YouTube channel it rejects stuff that is not meeting the guidelines. Like if at all we need the length to be at a certain maybe measurement, and the width to also be at a certain measurement, then we happen to design something whereby we do not have those measurements considered, then YouTube does what? Rejects it. So what we are going to do, we first type into our Google the size, okay, the size of a YouTube cover photo, because it is going to be a photo, not a JPEG. So this is the size. Here they are telling us your YouTube channel banner also known as the channel art or header, is similar to a cover photo that represents your brand and content. The ideal YouTube banner size is this. Okay, so I have to get these measurements and place them within my software. The first one is 2560. So I go to my software so we start with Illustrator. I click on it. I click on create after launching my software, opening up. Then from there I come and change the units to pixels. Okay, then okay, so if now from seeing that as my pixels, the pixel size is 2560, so I come and click on Photoshop. I click on Illustrator, that was a 2560, Control A to select everything in a box. Then I click 25, then 60. After clicking that, now I go back and get the second length. That is, if this was the width, then this is the height. So what, 1440. So I click on it, then I put in 14 what? These are units, so I leave the units at pixels. So I also come here and I put 14, it was 14 what? 1440. So let me first go back and cross check, because the measurements should be real. So they are 40, it is 1440. But you can use minimum banner dimensions of 248 by 1150 what? 52. So that can also work. So if we go here, okay, if we go back here in our design that we are trying to make, since we are designing for screen, we do not want more than one artboard. So if we are designing for screen, then we can switch from CMYK to R what? RGB. Then from RGB we click create. So having it in mind that even the resolution is 7, maybe is 72, because we are designing for screen. But from guessing, we do not want to guess. We would want to do something realistically. So it means Control minus to go a little bit away from the screen. So now I come back here and press save as, so that I give this project a name. Maybe I keep it on desktop in fonts. Then I like give it a name, maybe banner AI, that is Illustrator 1. So the moment I do that, the next thing I have to do is to save. Okay, so if I happen to go back after like saving, I'm going to like show you something here that we skipped. So when you click new, since we already put some measurements, it is going to stay by those measurements. Here, where are they? It like, are you saying that? So it like stays with those measurements. Okay, so besides that, after what we would do right now after having that, okay, so we come here, remember we changed this to RGB, then the resolution should be a screen that is 72 ppi, but you may never know, because what we are designing is a banner. You may need maybe to install it somewhere, maybe in a PDF that you give your clients to pay you that stuff. So it means that we have to create it at a higher standard, that is for what? For printing. If at all you want to, you're sure that you're going to only keep it on screen, then you click that and create, and that is it. Okay, so since it was already done, then that is all I can say. So we have our what? Our surface where we are going to be creating our design. Okay, so we've created the proportions that basically were needed. Now from there we can now integrate whatever we want. Okay, so let us stop here for this video. Then in the next video, we are going to be looking at how and what should be inserted inside and for what reason, if in case it is basically needed. So thank you for watching. Remember to subscribe so that you help me grow and you also give me that courage to share a lot of stuff. So thank you for watching. You're great. You're like doing a great job. I love you. Thank you.